There's no reason for him to go fucking nuts on people the other day in a press conference. And then the whole thing with Whalen, did you hear what he said?
Sorry, who said what?
With Whalen, the guy from Wigan?
The the chairman? Is this the
Yeah.
chairman? Is
He
this him trying to
defended
justify
hiring
racism?
Malcolm by saying, "Oh yeah, all every Englishman has always said the word chink or Chinaman."
Yeah, fuck that. Like I was saying, the only thing worse than the knuckle dragging racist is the
Oh,
guy trying to justify it, so he can fuck off as well. But yeah, no, I think we said in the early parts of the show that we didn't really want Roy Keane, and we've obviously dodged a huge billet in Malky Mackay, and we
yeah,
never wanted to
you know
lower
what?
Maguire.
That's yeah. Let me tell you the reason why you're right. And looking back now and talking about this, because you're in order to hire him, you have to say that. You realize that, right? In order to hire Malky, you're going to have to say what Dave Whalen said.
I just can't understand how. I think probably the best thing for Malky to do was to leave Britain and to go away and try and rebuild his career
Yep,
somewhere else.
I'm with you.
I've got absolutely no time for the guy now at all.
But you understand what I'm saying. In order for him, you understand what I mean. In order to defend hiring him, you had to go down that road. You could just not do it.
I hear the sponsors have pulled out of Wigan, so there you go. But anyway, we're not a Wigan podcast, and we're not a Malky Mackay podcast, so you can just jog
No,
on.
but I'm saying if we had hired him, we'd have had to do the same thing,
Yeah.
and
See
that
what?
definitely would work.
See one point on Roy Keane. I think that Roy Keane's became a comic book character of himself. I think he's fell into self parody, where the English loved this hard man routine, so he thought I better act like a hard man and I better act like this temperamental mental case. I
Right,
think he's just an absolute parody of himself
right.
now. I
I'm
think
with you.
he's an absolute tool of a man, to be quite honest with you. What a player he was, but fucking hell.
What a player! What
What
a
a
player!
player.
All right, so here's my bottom one,
What's your bottom one?
and my bottom one for American supporters listening would definitely be Fox Soccer. Can someone please tell me why in the world Fox Soccer on a Saturday, instead of playing the champions of Scotland in their game, their early 7:30 game in the morning here, or noon, obviously noon kickoff, was Sevco Hearts.
Yeah, fuck that.
Why?
I can beat that. Obviously, see in Toronto's community, there's a huge Irish community and a huge Scottish community. Toronto was basically built by Irish and Scottish guys. There's a St Patrick's station and a St Andrew's station beside each other, dedicated to the Scots and the Irish. So Scotland are playing Ireland in an international football match. What would your choice of game be on Sportsnet? It's obviously Gibraltar versus Germany. Fucking morons.
I have a point. By the way, keep that point. But here's my thing. I got up in the morning to watch I did watch the game. Okay, I had to get up. I had Max had a match, which I am totally excited about. Max played absolutely fucking great this weekend. Anyway, my issue is this: if we're talking about moving from this bottom thing of dealing with Sevco Rangers, what the hell they're called this week, I can't blame Fox Soccer. I have to blame the SPFL for going out and selling a package where if it's on a Friday, then fine, show it on a Friday if no other top teams are playing. But they have a product and they're selling shit fucking ass product. And the problem I have with it is that game was absolutely horrid.
Yeah.
The game was nothing more than 22 guys with a fucking switchblade knifing each other the entire game. That's all it was. Or if
Aye.
you want to put two bears fucking a football. That's what it was, and that's the entire fucking game. But let me ask. But that being said, I fear nothing about what's good. Whenever we play, I fear nothing from that fucking team. But my problem I have is this: that game should have been. Now I'm not going to go into the whole entire game, but Craig Thompson should have given 3 red cards and then a 4th for a double yellow on Ian Black, and the game should have been abandoned because of the way they're just. I'm worried, and the reason why I say this is because who do we sacrifice in that game, knowing that it's in January if we get through our next cup tie, Europa Cup tie? Who do we put on the fucking park? Dude, they fucking destroyed. They made 2-3 guys go off the field in stretchers.
They'll
Say,
go
go
two or
ahead.
three down, and then they're going to start breaking legs. You know that.
Yes.
Hopefully, like, I don't know what you can really do. Just hopefully the referee will just be smart enough to fucking keep it in control. But
He can't. He's got to go back to his lodge the next day.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's get off of that. We're not talking about
No.
Sefco
I'm not done with
anymore.
that yet. I'm not done with that yet. Because here's the thing. Now this is coming up. Now people realize this is going to happen. So with the semifinal, obviously we all want it to be the weekend of the 31st or 1st, especially here in the U.S., because that would be the weekend that we're all in Philadelphia. Hopefully, we're all in Philadelphia for the East Coast meetup. That would be perfect, and whatever we're going to do there that weekend. Now I'm reading that they're talking about moving one of those games to midweek because the BBC has first rights for both games.
Guess what? They're never going to move Celtic and Rangers to a midweek game.
Well, the police are talking about they want that. That was the whole point of the article.
Why would the police want a 7 o'clock kickoff?
Because it's easier to go ahead and if some people will stay home.
They should put it at 12 noon on a Saturday afternoon.
They won't do 12 on Saturday.
Yeah, they will.
They'll do 12 on Sunday.
You reckon they'll move it to Sunday?
I'm just saying, that's what I read. Anyway.
I think it's more likely a 12 noon during the week. I know that they were saying that the midweek games for Celtic Rangers were carnage because guys were getting the day off work and going drinking all day. So, they can't shut the pubs. If they start at 12 noon, it means that they can't go to the pubs beforehand and they think there's less violence. I can't see them moving it. It would be absolutely stupid. I don't think they'd have a leg to stand on to try and move it unless they particularly want trouble, which Strathclyde Police probably do because it justifies their budget. But there you go. But anyway, more importantly, away from moving the kickoff, have you managed to sweet talk Stacey yet into letting you go to Philly?
I was having a good time doing this conversation. I was having a good time recording this until you had to ask me that question. She's still waiting on you to call her to explain why she should give up her birthday.
That's a contest, right? We'll give away something. We'll give away a prize to the person gets in touch with the show, has the best excuse for Dr. J missing his wife's birthday to come and get pissed in Philadelphia and watch a football match which is on television in his own house.
That's true. That is true. But here's the question is, how do we convince her to get on the podcast so we can have this conversation with her?
I don't know.
That would be good radio. That would be good radio. I would love to do that.
There's no chance that she's never going to let you do this, man. You're so fucked. You're so fucked.
No, it's either I don't go and I do have sex again, or I don't go or I do go. Well, hold on. I don't go and I have sex again, or I do go and I never have sex again, probably. So I don't know.
Well, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked. You're gonna have to pull a miracle off. But yeah, answers on a postcard. Let us know how Dr. J is gonna have to break it.
Oh yeah, to let us know because we haven't. Remember, it's what's our email address? It's STG Podcast. STG Celtic Podcast at gmail.com.
Just tweet us.
Or email us, either one. STG Celtic Podcast. So one last thing we haven't talked about yet.
Whoa.
The Celtic AGM.
I know nothing about it apart from the living wage. The living wage was on my top points of the week. So yeah.
That was good. They said they're going to pay £7.85 to permanent employees now.
It's a start. Good stuff.
It's a good start. Yeah. But the one comment that was actually pretty funny was Bankier, apparently, according to the tweets that I saw from the Celtic Trust, did not look all that interested in continuing to talk about it. So his comment to everyone at the AGM was, anyone who wants to discuss living wage directly with the club, please contact Peter and me, and we will meet with them personally.
Is there anything really else to discuss? It's a case of, are we giving people a living wage? Yes, there you go. I know that from what I gather, there is a kind of charity set up where you
become certified.
You become a certified living wage employer. And they said, we're not signing up to that because there's certain implications where we don't want to give over control of what we pay people to another company, but we will go along the line of paying people the right money. I think that's pretty fair, to be honest with you. I don't really know a lot about the implications of it, but it sounds fine with me. So people have campaigned for it, and it's happened, so we should be happy about that. A wee victory for the Celtic community. So good stuff.
So there were two other things about the AGM I thought were interesting.
What happened? Right, you fill me. I know nothing about it, so you tell me.
The first one was obviously that Peter was talking about UEFA's open to regional leagues, which is good. Basically, because when I was reading the article and watching his interview, basically because UEFA is aware finally of the disparity between teams with good TV contract versus teams that don't have good TV contracts. And I think his comment was something along the lines of, Celtics TV money was 1.8 million. A relegated team from the EPL gets 65 million in the same environment. Celtic would be, and here's the comment, one of the biggest clubs in the world. What do you think of?
Did they not say the richest? Was it not a really definitive
No,
statement?
the biggest. He said one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, if Celtic were in the Premier League, you've got the stabilisers come off the club. You've got the platform of the English Premier League to market your club. You've got all the television money, and you've got a brand, Celtic, which is universally recognised and could be sold on a much bigger scale. I mean, the kind of identity, even just stuff like the quality of the shirts and the green and white hoops, were just so much easier to sell than, say, Wigan Athletic or West Ham United or what that. This whole Scottish thing, this whole Irish connection as well, we've just got a foot up on any of those teams in England, you know?
Now, let me tell you why.
Wait for you, Man United or whatever.
Oh, totally. Even Man United. Let me tell you why you're right. And why all the comments that I read from all the freaking idiots in Scotland, England, everything else. If this is my issue with the we'll call them the Brits, if you want to use that term, you hear them say all the time, and they'll rip Americans. What do you think? It's only about you, and you're the only Americans, or blah blah blah. And every chance they get, they rip Americans for whatever it is that we do. Listen, it's not my fault that we brought you McDonald's. I get it. It's an American thing. I understand that. But you do fucking love Kentucky Fried Chicken, so shut the fuck up. Anyway, so the next thing is this. It's not about you, people. This is about the world. There are more people that would be connected to a Celtic, Irish, Scottish club just by name alone than anyone would ever think of the name Hull City.
Yeah.
It is not being the biggest club in the world has nothing to do with China. It has nothing. You're talking about strips being sold. And when you talk about strips being sold, my issue would be this. Do I think Peter Lawwell was pandering to the crowd? Slightly. Do I think he's wrong? The answer is no, I don't. I do think he's correct only because that connection, when people would hear about it and read about it and see the difference between the reason why people love this club versus the reason why people like other clubs, come on. Here's a great example. One of the kids that plays on my son's team, his dad's a big Chelsea fan. And I ask him why. He goes, oh, because they play great. Oh, you just like that little club Celtic. It's like, no, there's a big difference. Let me ask you a question. If Chelsea wasn't winning, what would you think? Well, I'd still like.
We've been over this a million times. And I've got mates as well that claim to support Chelsea, and they're like, "Why do you support Chelsea?" And they're like, "Because they have Torres or Drogba."
They don't support Chelsea. They like Chelsea.
It's basically they're buying merchandise.
Yes.
It's a team's been marketed to them. They've got players that they like, therefore they become fans of that team.
Yes.
They're not supporters. It's plastic fans. We say that.
Correct.
If we had Celtic in the Premier League, there wouldn't be another team that would have the kind of level of identity plus the global reach that Celtic would have at that stage. However, it doesn't mean I want it. I don't want to be in the Premier League.
Ready for this? If you were to rank all the teams in the UK for season book holders, where would Celtic come in?
If we joined the Premier League?
No, right now.
I hear that we're up there anyway. It's not as big as it used to be. We used to be number one.
Still third.
Still third, yeah.
Arsenal and Manchester United. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're going to have to wrap this up today because we're hitting 2 hours.
No, I'm not done yet. I still
have to wrap this up sometime.
I will, but before we wrap this up, I want to tell you, for once, you were right.
What do you mean for once? I'm always right. Nah, I'm kidding. What was I right on?
I want to say how you were right, and I was wrong. And I'm going to give you all the love in the world because you actually called me out on this. Last time we had this conversation, last time we had the conversation about Sevco and Celtic, and I was very disenchanted with the Celtic Twitter feed and Facebook page and Celtic website talking about quote-unquote Rangers. And you said, no. We have to, I'm sure the club has to be careful because they don't want to be attacked. They're very, very, you had made the comment,